welcome back to Sextras.
Where we talk about sex and all the extras.
I'm Honey.
And I'm Maria.
And today we're going to talk about fingering and handjobs.
And blowjobs.
And blowjobs. And
eating
head.
pussy.
Yeah. All the lovely things.
Yeah, I also don't like how there's not a good word. Like, blowjobs. Like, there should be a...
Yeah.
What's the girl one? Well, the vagina one, sorry.
Yeah, there's no equivalent. Misogyny is all around
so
us.
Yeah, well, if you guys have any suggestions, obviously.
Yeah, we'd love to know. Also, we have, talked about foreplay before. We did one called something about foreplay.
Focus on foreplay.
Yeah, focus on foreplay in season 1. And we also did a Girl's Gotta Come in season 1, so you should go listen to those if you are interested in hearing more, but obviously keep listening to this episode because...
Yeah, and we did an episode on porn and wanking.
Oh yeah.
Literally, like...
a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
So just go check them all. Basically go listen to all of the episodes of the podcast is what we're saying. This episode kind of arose out of a really weird conversation we had with your brother.
Of all people.
Yeah, and I know so much about him now that I probably didn't need to know, and you probably really didn't need to know, but it was interesting, and it kind of got us thinking about the differences in feelings and difficulty, the age-old question of is it more difficult to give head to a girl or to give a blowjob? And we're like, well, we've done both and we'll tell you our answer, so stay tuned.
We know it all, essentially.
Yeah, basically we are the
sex facts.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, should we say what zone we're in today?
Yeah. I'm feeling a bit in the I think blue zone, actually.
Same.
Yeah. I don't know, I've been not having the best week.
No.
I'm not sure why. I've just been feeling like every day I'm just in a bad mood, and
same.
I just kind of have to get through the day, and it's okay, when am I not gonna be in a bad mood? And then, I mean, not to divulge everything about my life all the time, but I'm just annoyed at my boyfriend right now. Do we have what's the color for annoyed? I think blue is the most
blue, yeah.
I'm just a little bit annoyed and upset with him.
Really? You haven't told me this?
Yeah, no, but it's not it's just not, I'm not that annoyed. That's the thing. It's really not that big of a deal. It's just I haven't been annoyed or angry at him in so long that I'm wow, crazy times. But yeah, just long distance relationship things. It's because he's not calling me enough, essentially. That's the gist of it.
Love.
Yeah. But yeah, hopefully I'll get back into the yellow. Sorry to... Well, I mean, not sorry. That's
this
just the way I'm
This
feeling.
is the first time in a while.
I know.
Breaking the streak.
Kind of crazy.
Up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you? Sorry.
I think kind of blue as well. I don't know, I've been having a bit of a crisis because I finished my job last week, literally 4 days ago, and I'm already in a panic. If you know me, you know that I just don't like having nothing to do. I need to have things to do, so I'm what can I do for the podcast? Think up a whole strategy, and if I'm not being productive, then I get freaked out, even though it's been 3 days. So I really just need to calm myself. Also, I'm going away, so it's I can't even get another job, so it's just stupid. And then I'm should I be dating? I don't know, the whole question of to date or not to date in your 20s. Do I want to date? I'm going on a date this week, and I don't know if I want to go that much. I'm already kind of not that bothered, but I have agreed to go, so I feel I should just go and see how it is.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, I think obviously listen to how you're feeling. If you're kind of oh, I'm not feeling it, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I already cancelled on him once, though. I feel bad.
Yeah, but and I was gonna say, but then again, like saying yes to things is usually like maybe you won't have a good time, but like
I
at
can
least
just
you,
leave.
yeah, exactly, you can leave, and at least like you went out and did something, whatever,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I feel like that is the thing. I just need to like get out and like do things, not just sit at home doing like silly little podcaster things all day, you know. But yeah. Yeah. Maybe I just need to get fingered.
Yes, on that note, let's get into it. Let's get into the segment.
So we really struggled with these questions because basically we'll obviously get into it, but like what we want to get at is like the differences in the feelings and like how it's difficult to like do both ones if you don't know what the other person is feeling. And we were like trying to understand what people do the most, and like it's hard to explain, but it will obviously come out as the episode goes on anyway. So we started by asking people with penises, what does it feel like to get a hand job or to masturbate? Can you describe the sensation? Someone said it's like someone trying to crack your back for a while until it finally cracks, then your back is relieved of stress and any tightness. Which I feel like you're describing the orgasm.
Yeah.
That's not what we wanted. We wanted because I don't know what it's like to have a dick. Like, I want to know what it feels like to have something holding your dick, essentially.
Yeah, but I feel like it's really hard to describe because if, like, let's say, okay, go on, try to describe what it feels like to be fingered.
It just feels like being, like, really full.
Yeah, exactly. That doesn't really sound that good.
It does. It's like you have a hole and then it's suddenly, like, filled up and you're, like, stimulated in all these ways.
See, like, it's hard.
It is hard.
I appreciate the attempt, to be fair, and in a way that, like, everyone, even people that don't have a penis, can be like, oh, I know what that feels like.
Yeah. And then what else did we ask?
So then we also asked people with penises, do you enjoy getting hand jobs? And 78% of people said yes, and 22% of people said no.
Interesting.
Very interesting. I thought that the yes number would be lower, which I feel like is, I don't know why, but I did.
Yeah. But I mean, realistically, like, what percentage of guys is gonna turn down a hand job if you offer it?
Yeah, exactly. That's obviously also the logic. But at the same time, I've heard a lot, like, so many guys be like, yeah, I don't really like hand jobs, and like the hand jobs that I've gotten like just haven't been very good.
Yeah.
But maybe it's just the men that I know.
Yeah. And then we asked people with clitorises/vulvas, do you enjoy being fingered? 87% of people said yes, 13% of people said no. Interesting. I mean, it's already quite a high number of yes, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it'd be high and no also. But to be fair, I feel like, I don't know, most people our age, at least like the people that I talk to, have had at least like one, like some good sexual experiences.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like if you ask like a group of 16-year-olds, like, do you like getting fingered? They'd probably be like, no.
Absolutely not. I'm just like getting stabbed. Yeah.
But maybe not. Maybe 16-year-olds do know.
Maybe they've upped their game since we were 16. I mean, it was 6 years ago, to be fair. Yeah. Okay. Next one.
Okay, so, and then we wanted to, crack down, start like stamping out these differences between clitoral, like fingering, clitoral stimulation, and like penetrative. I really struggle with that word, so I'm sorry, I'm really gonna mispronounce it every single time I say it this episode, but yeah, like inside fingering.
Yeah. Inside.
Yeah, so then we asked, what kind of fingering do you prefer, penetrative or clit? And 26% of people said penetrative, and 74% of people said clitoral.
again, unsurprising. Like, I really was not expecting those numbers to be any different.
Really? I don't know. I feel like first of all, I was under this impression that you liked penetrative fingering
No,
more than
no, 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 no,
clit.
no, no.
And I don't know why I thought that, but I genuinely did
I
think
feel like I
that.
have
So
been making it seem like I do, but I don't.
yeah, so then obviously because you're like the only other person that I speak to, essentially, I was just like, oh, so it must be like 50-50.
Nah. Like, what? You've never spoken to
No,
another girl
obviously I
about
have.
fingering
No,
before.
obviously I have, but like I kind of just, how, I don't know, it kind of raised the number up in my head, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, again, we'll get into it, but I feel like it's hard to choose just one. Like, it's all about the combinations, obviously. So
Yeah.
we'll get into that as well. And then we asked, would you rather get a hand job or be fingered by someone else or do it yourself? And 68% of people said someone else and 32% said do it yourself. And this is kind of surprising because this is kind of what we're saying. Like, this is how this whole conversation really started, is because we're like, what is the point in getting a hand job? Like, surely you can just do it better yourself. Like, why do I need to sit here and like fucking, like rub your dick for you? Like, as a grown man, why are you getting your dick rubbed? Like, you can just do it yourself. No, I know it's obviously hypocritical, but I just think of it as like all the girls that I kind of speak to, apparently apart from Maria, like don't think they're good at giving hand jobs, and like they're just like, what is it? I don't really understand. Like, obviously you can do it, but it, as someone said, like in a submission that they sent, it just feels very like samey. I'm like, how can that feel good? Like, it doesn't look. Also, the guys are really bad at like expressing pleasure. Like, I'm like, is that good? Like,
yeah, mate, 100. They're so bad. Like, even okay, I'll give my boyfriend a blowjob, right? He'll be like, that was the best blowjob of my life, and I'm like, okay, like, what did you like about it? What exactly like did I do that you were like, I'm really into that? And he's just like, oh, just everything. It's like, shut the fuck up!
like,
just give me a real answer. Like, think about it for a fucking second and just.
And you're just there, like fucking pulling on their dick, and you're just like, where's the emotion? I don't.
No, but it's not even the emotion. It's like they're so bad at like pinpointing exactly like what it is that they like. I feel like in my experience, like, I don't know if you've talked to guys more about like, or people with penises, like more about what feels good for them specifically, like on their genitals or like in specific sex act or whatever, you know what I mean? But I feel like I haven't really had much. I feel like even when I've offered a bit, or like I'm expected to like offer that, but then it's not really. They don't really know what to say in the experiences I've had.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard as well. Like, it's hard for us to like speak to other people's pleasure, but it's just like when I'm doing it, I don't feel like you're enjoying it as much as like the blowjob. Like there's a lot more.
Yeah.
A lot more giving with the blowjob. Anyway.
So then we asked which happens the most for you during sex, and I mean our demographics are more women, so we did have a lot more female answers, but 37.2% of people said fingering as opposed to 34.9 said head. And that's the people that have vulvas, we're assuming,
Yeah.
And then 25.6% of people said blowjobs as opposed to 0.02% said handjobs.
So this is just solidifying our point of like, are you really taking a handjob over a blowjob? No, you're not. And these are the statistics to prove it. Our scientific research has paid off. Guys, we keep joking that we're like scientists doing our silly little experiments. Now that our scientific part of the research is over, we asked if there was like anything else, like any opinions, any like questions, general things. Someone said men can't finger. Fair assumption.
Then someone else said a partner can never work my clit right because I like it soft and fast, but usually they'll go either hard and fast or soft and slow. So annoying. But I love being fingered. It's the best thing ever if it's done right. So it's so frustrating. And like I do sympathize with not being able to do it, because like you know, like soft and fast, like even though like it is very doable, and if you kind of just think about it and like, you know, practice and, you know, try it out, whatever, like it can be done, but it's kind of a like, wait, shit. And you know, it is like it's so specific for some people.
Yeah.
For most people. I guess it's so specific for everyone, sorry.
Yeah.
What is wrong with me? Can I just speak normally, please?
You're fine.
So then I do feel like it's really hard to know what that person is, how that person's gonna like it, and like what exactly to do and where exactly to touch, what kind of pressure, like what kind of speed.
Yeah.
Everything. So it is hard, but once you get it, you get it.
Yeah. The girls who get it. The girls who don't.
Exactly.
Someone said keeping a steady pace is most important for me for head fingering, which like, yeah, I feel like we'll get into this. We're going to talk about like the variations, like the variables of the you know, of the motion and pressure and all of that important stuff.
Yeah. And then someone else said, I think clitoral stimulation requires more skill than penetrative fingering. Which I like the input on the. We were doing like a whole ranking, you know, like based on skill, based on like frequency of when it happens, and I like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would agree.
Yeah, and then like just a little bit more of an input based on like a conversation that I had with someone about this in response to the segment was like that it's not necessarily that like either fingering or head happens more than the other. It's kind of like about the combination of the two and like the different sensations like being mixed. And it's not like fingering will just happen and head happens by itself or like the other way around. It's kind of like both kind of go together, and kind of like the same with blowjobs and handjobs, which is kind of like what we want to get at, but we'll get into it in the main episode.
Thank you so much to the Natural Love Company for sponsoring this episode of Sextras. We're so excited to be working with them. They're an eco-friendly, sustainable sex toy company, so it's just right along the lines of what we care about, you know, saving the planet. Their slogan, you know, as you open the packages, is fuck yourself, not the planet.
Yeah.
So
Love
really,
that.
you know, mwah.
And they're a small business. We love to support small businesses, but we are very excited because they sent us some stuff. We got
let us show you guys. I got a little cock ring that has like a sort of clit stimulating extension, so you can use it by yourself or with a partner, and yeah, just go to town essentially.
Yeah, and I got this glass dildo which is double-ended. It has a little curve in one end, so you can use it to stimulate your G-spot or for anal play if that's your thing. And it comes in this gorgeous plastic-free packaging, which we're super excited about, and it just goes along with their amazing website. Their selection is so easy to choose from. They don't have too many products, so it's not super overwhelming, and you can gift it to someone. It's reasonably priced, and they have their own lube as well. They sent us a aloe vera water-based lube, and it doesn't dry out as quickly as other water-based lubes, and you can use it with your toys and your condoms, which is very very important. And you can get a free sex toy cleaner and free shipping with your purchase with the code SEXTRAS. So definitely go check out their website, which is thenaturallovecompany.com, and get yourself something to fuck yourself, not the planet.
Definitely. Thank you so much to the Natural Love Company.
Okay, so I feel like we should address this like this idea that you have that I prefer penetrative fingering over clitoral, because go on.
Sorry, I was literally just gonna interrupt your thought and say, yeah, maybe we should like start with a little ranking of our preferences.
Yeah.
But carry on your thought, sorry.
I just am like kind of following on from the thought of like, why would I want someone else to like rub my clit when I can just do it myself? I can't penetrative finger myself in the same way as like someone else can. Like I can, but it's like a bit uncomfortable to like reach down there, you know. Also, I always have really long nails, like blah blah, blah. Anyway, so like, yeah, I don't know, and I just feel like it's really nice to like have someone like fill you up. It's like really gross imagery that I'm using to describe it, but like I can rub my own clit and like make myself come that way, and like I literally like not many people can rub my clit and make me come that way. So it's
what
like
kind of what's your go-to?
Like if someone's fingering me, I do like when they rub my clit, but I don't usually come if they just do that.
No, I mean like you're like what kind of clitoral fingering do you prefer? That's what I mean.
Oh,
like what kind of vibe?
What kind of vibe?
Like what do you like it like like
oh I
fast,
see I see
like lots of pressure or like light?
I need like
slow
to start slow and like
okay
lighter pressure and then get faster and like a bit harder but not too hard, because then I like lose sensitivity.
Okay, so you kind of want to like you wait, let me just get the plain flame. And like when it gets harder and faster, like how, like what level is it reaching? Is it like still like quite light? Like how much of a change is there essentially from like start to finish? Like
it's not that much of a change. Like it's
Okay.
probably like a 40% increase kind of thing. If I have to estimate.
And you like a very subtle change.
Yeah.
Like you it's like, yeah, you basically can't feel it.
Like I like to feel the difference, but like gradual.
Okay.
And then I just feel like it's a very like specific like area of my clit that feels really good. And guys just never like, I'm like,
what area? Where is it exactly?
that way.
And like, do you prefer when like it's, sorry, I know it's so like graphic and getting into so many details, but I feel like it's helpful for people to know exactly what they're talking about, you know what I mean? To like have examples of like how to describe it and whatever.
Yeah,
so
I can just send this to like whoever I'm gonna sleep with.
Literally. Wait, sorry, fuck, what was I even asking?
Like where exactly does it feel good?
And like, do you like it when it's hooded or like exposed?
Yeah, so I feel like at the start it needs to be hooded, because like we were talking about this with Kinky in season 1 in How to Have Better Sex, go listen. Like how your G-spot has to engorge as you get turned on, and I feel like I definitely need that, because like, you know, sometimes when you like want to masturbate and you're like, I just want to come quickly, I do that like quite often, and then I just don't come because I'm like, I haven't like given myself time to warm up. And like that doesn't necessarily have to be with fingering with someone else, like it can be with like the other like foreplay, like touching and stuff. Like sometimes I'm good to go, but sometimes I do need a bit more, so then it needs to start a bit lighter, and then like even if it's just like above like your pants or whatever, so there's like a little shield there, so I can like warm up a bit first and like get actually wet before, because I feel like it's like the friction. Then also like with the whole herpes thing, I just get scared of like friction, so then my mind gets like switched to another place. So I'm like, okay, I really need to like, even if it's just like some lube or something, like it's fine.
The pants thing is such a hot tip though, like if you know, like if you feel like you find it hard to like when to just get started straight away, like always start with that, and like it will you know warm everything up down there. And
this is why I really like licking as well, like just because it like it just turns you on so much. I mean, it turns me on so much. Like I don't know why, it just does. And I don't really like head that much.
Yeah, it's just the shocking inconsistency to me.
Like, oh, the people I'm sleeping with must just have such a hard time trying to figure it out.
Wait, sorry, but you were saying what part of your clit?
Yeah. So it's like, I feel like it's more to like the right for me, where it feels good. Like that's where I tend to like focus on, and then like in the bit between my actual clit and like the vagina, like the actual
like the
hole.
flap. Okay.
Like that middle bit feels really good. So like sometimes if the pressure's getting too much on my clit, I'll like switch to that bit, and then but then I just really like, because of the whole like pressure movement thing and like how it's so specific to everyone and like the variables, and like because the guy or the girl or whoever it is that's like fingering you, because the person who's fingering you doesn't know what you're feeling, probably. Like they might if they have the same genitals as you, but like they might not as well, and even if they do, it doesn't mean that they know, because it's so specific. They like even the slightest thing can just like throw you off, and so that's why I'm always like, oh, I'll just like do my clit myself, and then you can like finger me inside, kind of thing, because that just like feels really good to me, and I think it's hot. I think it's really hot for the other person and for you, because I think other people like to watch you do stuff. I like watching other people do stuff. Some people find it really weird, but I think it's hot.
Yeah, I think it's hot for sure.
And then you can see as well, like especially if it's your first time sleeping with them, you can see what it is that they do and like what they're enjoying, and then do it like the next time you have sex, or like try to do it the next time.
It's weird because I do find it hot for sure, and I find it hot when like my boyfriend asks me to do it, but like I always think I'd rather he was doing it than me, even though I know I'm better at it. Like,
yeah,
it's kind of weird. I don't know. And then sometimes when he does do it, I'm just kind of like, oh, I just wish he would stop. Like,
yeah, exactly. Like, I'm like, should I be a really nice person right now and like give you like be patient with you and like have high hopes for you, or should I just bypass all of that and just be like, you know what, it would be a way better time, I would come way quicker if I just did it myself and you fingered me, or like if we had sex, like penetrative sex, and I fingered myself.
This is the thing, I feel like in my sex I like do divide it, like it's kind of like it's divided per orgasm kind of thing, right?
Okay.
So like if there's fingering, if it starts with fingering, like we're not gonna stop until I come.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then like I see that as like the fingering section. Okay. And then there's like the head section. And then they do like there's intertwinement, as you were saying, and like we do want to get into it. I guess we can get into it now. Yeah. But like with the head, like you'll have some fingers in there, and like maybe you'll like even like rub my clit rather than like, you know, with the tongue, like with your fingers rather than with your tongue for a bit. Like, you know, there can be intertwinement and like mix and match and all of that, but I do feel like it is like they can be kind of like self-contained, you know. And then there's like fingering, like clit stimulation when we're having sex, which is like kind of different, and it's like its own orgasm.
That's true.
I do feel like, so if it's like the fingering section, I would rather he did it, obviously. I don't want to do that because like...
What, penetrative?
Oh, no.
All of it.
Clit. I really don't like penetrative, like I only like
all.
I don't like it to start. Like, it has to start just with my clit.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, but I feel like that's not obvious. I thought like maybe I thought that was just me. You know, maybe this is hot tips for people.
Yeah.
Okay. Start with the clit, you know, like get it all like good and going. But actually, hot tip though, if like, no, this is actually the hottest tip. I just realized, like put your fingers in there, just like not fully. You don't have to like shove them in or anything. Just like
a tiny bit
around the like, and especially, you know, at the start, because like all the wetness is around there, and then you get that to the clit, because like no one likes complete dryness like when it like first contact with the clit. You
don't even like think about going near my clit with like dry fingers, or
Yeah,
near
exactly.
my
Lick
fucking
them.
vagina. Like, don't put your whole finger in my vagina if it's dry.
But that's the thing that people don't know. Like, lick your fingers if like before, or as I said, get a bit of the wetness from the vagina up to the clit, and then start going. And then once like that's been going for a while, then like fingers can go out there. But like, I'd be fine without the fingers if I'm being quite honest.
I'd be
like,
fine even if it was just this bit of the finger, but just like a tiny bit, like a tiny bit.
This is the thing, the best thing. And this is more of a head tip because this is just like my own personal favorite thing. It's like getting head, like, so someone's like licking your clit or whatever, and they're like, sorry, I just like feel so uncomfortable with the thought of my mum hearing this, that I just have these moments of like,
I keep thinking about it. I'm like, ah.
But like, so yeah, tongue on clit, and then like the fingers, but like you're not putting them in. It's like just at the door, like it's at the gate, and it's like staying there, and it's just like rubbing your. Oh my god, it feels so good.
Yeah. Like,
and you can do that with like when fingering as well. You can be like rubbing the clit and then just stay like outside. That's my personal preference. I'm not that much into like fingers inside. I'm fine with fingers inside if like I'm getting head. Like, I would never have just fingers inside, ever. No, like, that's not for me. It's just really not for me. Or, like, any in and out.
No, it has to be a combination of the two. I would never just have fingers.
Really? This is the thing, like, I genuinely thought you were, like, just getting, like, fingered, like, no clit. Like, on a daily.
Maybe it will, like, alternate.
No,
you think I'm having sex on the daily, I wish. Like, if it's like, yeah, as you said, like that portion of the sex, of like the fingering portion, it doesn't always have to be both at once. Like, maybe it will switch between the two, kind of thing. But I would never just do the fingering section as just fingers inside me.
But ever. You would expect like both.
Yeah, like if someone's rubbing my clit, I'll just be like, can you actually just like put your fingers in me, and I'll do that.
Oh, really? Like, and even in the fingering section?
Well, no, because I feel like I think we need to talk, like, we need to have a talk. because like, obviously you're in a relationship, and like,
wait, sorry, yeah, I know I have a very
established like routine, and like, you both know what you're there for, what you want, but like with like, it's a lucky situation if I get like more than 30 seconds of foreplay.
I don't know, maybe this is just my boyfriend. But like, after he's come, it's like, I also just don't want anything to happen, because it's like, I know that he's just not horny. When you give a blowjob and you're not horny, you're kind of just going through the motions, like kind of trying to get through it, and it's like, you're kind of just thinking, can you hurry up, can you hurry up, can you hurry up, because you're not horny, like, you're not really like into it anymore, like.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, because I really like giving blowjobs.
No,
so
I like it too, but
really like not horny and giving a blowjob. Because it's always before sex as well, like, this is what I mean.
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
Because for them that is like the build up, but then it's like I feel like if they get that time, then I'm like, okay, and like if they get to come, like they get to do whatever they like, not whatever they want during sex, but it's like, you know, you do it in your own time, then I'm like, okay, well, even if you're not horny, like, you're still gonna fucking finger me, like.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
Like, I wouldn't be like, you have to finger me, but I would expect it.
No,
you know?
yeah, no. I completely
so
understand
then,
that.
and like, mostly, like, guys will do that. Like, mostly people do that. So yeah, then it's kind of like like, my sex is always just like the guy, like the person with the penis foreplay, the sex, and then like, in brackets, like the me coming / being fingered section. But like, some, like, to be fair, a few guys recently have been like really into fingering, so that's nice.
Wait, but okay, if when you're getting fingered, you're like rubbing your own clit, why don't you come from penetrative sex? Because like, can't you come just clitorally from penetrative sex? That's what I mean, like, can't.
Yeah, I can just come from.
Like, why is it that's? I'm not saying like there's something wrong with you. I'm just like, as in,
why
like,
can't you come from penetration?
Like, just understanding like what's different about like the fingering? What are you getting from the fingering that you're not getting from the dick? That's my question.
It's like the curve and like the movements. Because it will be like the circular movements inside.
But isn't the dick
and
so...
like...
That's one, like, in my head, the dick is like the good version of the fingers.
No, it is. But you know, like sometimes when you're having like dick in vagina sex, it's like a bit intense and you can't like quite rub your clit.
Yeah,
it's
okay,
very,
fair enough,
like,
fair enough.
It's way easier with the fingers.
Okay, no,
to
that's
do
very
that.
true, that's very true, okay, I see that.
And like, because with the dick, all of your wetness is going to the dick being lubricated. But with the fingers, it's like a bit more like...
Yeah, everything's wet.
Yeah, everything's wet. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I don't know, it's nice. I'm not saying I like prefer one over the other, I'm just saying... Yeah, anyway, I feel like we need to move on from this conversation because, yeah, so, okay, this is the big question. Is fingering the equivalent of a hand job?
No.
No.
Well, yes, as we said, as we like kind of touched on already, I feel like fingering happens as a part of like everything, low key. Like you kind of like, even when you have sex, even if you don't have foreplay, like I feel like at least clitoral stimulation happens, which I guess is part of fingering, but I don't know, maybe people do think of fingering as just penetrative.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess, but then what if maybe penetrative fingering is the same as a hand job?
Yeah, I think they're way more similar than just clip. I think that penetrative fingering, and I could be completely wrong, is like the add-on to the clitoral stimulation, whether that's like clip fingering or like head. And hand jobs are the add-on to a blowjob. That's what I think.
Genius. Genius. But then again, like clitoral stimulation is kind of maybe like the add-on to sex. So this is the thing, like this is where the clit is just the queen of everything.
Yeah.
Because like she's just there all the time. She's like loving life, you know.
Sustained at all times.
She's like essential every step of the way.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Okay, but let's talk about hand. Should we talk about, I feel like we talked quite a bit about fingering.
Yeah.
Wait, okay, maybe do we have any like final wrapping up like good fingering tips, like anything that you can think of that could be helpful?
I feel like it's good to check in about the pressure. Like, don't be scared to ask, like, is this good? Is the pressure good? Like, is this the right movement? And like, if they try to move your hand, let them do it, because there's literally no point of doing it if you're in the wrong place. Like, nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah, and I think to go along with that is that I think it's very easy when someone's like, oh, does that feel good? Like, my instant reaction would be like, yeah, even if it doesn't, because it's like, it's like part of the sex thing, like to go with or like porn episode, it's like part of the thing, like you have to be like, yeah, I'm having a great time, you know, because then they'll have a good time. It's like you have to act like you're like enjoying it. So I do feel like, don't be scared to be like a little, you don't have to be like, no, that doesn't feel good, that's terrible. Like, just be like, oh, a little bit to the right, or like a little bit higher, a little bit lower, or like a little bit softer, like, you know, just stick with those like higher, left, like lower, softer, faster, like, you know, those words, and just like hopefully you'll get to somewhere that it's like okay.
Yeah, I agree. I've been seeing loads of like discourse on TikTok recently about fingering, and like people being like, normalize getting up and walking out. And I just think it would be so funny if you just stood up and you're like, enough. Like, what are you doing? What do you think you're doing? It's so funny.
But yeah, and also if you're a guy and like to take from it, I think just think more about the clit. Don't worry too much about like sticking your fingers inside. Use it as a tool for wetness. That's what I would say, more so than like anything else. And if in doubt, just literally shove the fingers in there. Like, you don't even have to move them at all. Like,
don't shove
just
them.
don't move them. Well, no, sorry, not shove them. Like
gently put them in.
Yes, of course. And just leave them in there and, like, just wiggle them about from time to time while you're, like, focusing on the clit. Like, just think about the clit.
Towards the direction of her belly.
Yeah.
Like,
this towards you.
This is the... Like, for people who are listening, sorry, you'll have to go and watch on YouTube. This is the, like, belly. This is her belly button, and, like, this is the vagina. You put your fingers in here and you reach it this way. Like, this direction. But I mean, you can also go back as well if you're scared, right? But that's the best way. And, like, or in a circle, if in doubt. Circle is fine.
Yeah, or literally just don't move them and just focus on the clit. Because if everything's going right with the clit, like, I promise you, the fingers, you don't need them, like, in there at all.
But never just start with the fingers inside there and nothing else.
Yeah, unless someone's literally like, I love, like, penetrative fingering and, like, this is what I like, then do that. But I feel like more often than not, the clit will be the main event. Yeah. And if someone tells you otherwise, then, you know. But always go in from, like, listening standpoint. That's what I think. Like, listening and, like, doing what they want. Not, like, what you think you should do.
Yeah. Okay, now we've got that over and done with. Handjobs.
Handjobs.
It is obviously difficult for us to talk, like, more difficult for us to talk on handjobs because we do not have dicks. But Maria apparently thinks she's really good at giving handjobs.
No. It's just, I mean, the handjobs that actually, fun fact, I just gave my boyfriend of 3 years first handjob ever.
Oh my god.
Ever.
See, this is proof that it's just not happening.
No,
like,
but to be fair,
this handjob.
This was like, only handjob. And this was only because also, like, he expressed to me, he was like, I just don't want a handjob. Like, ever, really. Like, he's just like, if I have the option of getting my dick sucked or a handjob, like, I'll take the blowjob every single time.
Yeah. Like, handjob to me just gives, like...
Wait,
you're in a car, but you have nothing else to do but, like, give a handjob. You know, like, in movies when there's, like, or, like, TV shows, and there's, like, young kids meet up and they're like, what shall we do? Let's give a handjob in the back of a car, you know?
Yeah, to be fair... Yeah, handjobs is, like, when you don't have any other option.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I thought you meant, like, nothing else to do, like, you're bored. And I was like, what? Really? That's like, should I just give a handjob?
No.
No, but yeah, no, I agree. I feel like it is like, okay, I don't really, there's no other option.
Yeah.
In a way that, like, you know how you prefer fingering to head as do a lot of women.
Yeah.
Like blowjobs, handjobs. Nah. Like, what man prefers a handjob to a blowjob? Like,
honestly,
I
if a man told
one.
me that they preferred handjobs, I'd just be like, well, you're not getting one. Like, you're gonna have to explain to me step by step what it is. Which is, like, exactly what we just said.
I kind of I literally just had this, like, sort of realization and flashback. First guy I slept with, I'm pretty sure I gave him, like, a total of, like, maybe 3-4 handjobs and maybe 2 blowjobs.
Yeah, but I feel like that's quite common. Like, when you're younger, that's what I'm saying, is, like, because... I don't know, I feel like blowjobs are, like, really hyped up when you're younger. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, it's so scary. Like, especially if you've never done it before, it's like... I feel like it does seem really, really scary. Versus a handjob is just, like, really not that big of a deal, you know? Like, it's really not a big deal, which is why it's, like, not really included in sex. It's just, like, something you do as the gateway. It's, like, the gateway drug to sex, is what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, you had handjob experience back in your day.
Yeah, exactly. Before I gave a blowjob, I gave not many handjobs. Sorry, I really hope my mom doesn't listen to this episode.
I'm gonna
like,
tell my mum to not, honestly.
yeah. But like, I would never now be like, instead of having sex, should I just give you a hand job? Like, but I would be like, instead of having sex, should I suck your dick?
Yeah. No, same. Maybe we should talk about like hand jobs and like what to do and like.
Yeah.
Well, we asked our friend with a penis.
Yeah.
And for any tips, you know, so we could like bring it straight from the source.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, sort of like make it tighter at the top
Mm-hmm.
and like loosen your grip at the like closer to the body. So like
Yeah.
the tip of the dick being the top.
Yeah. Like the base near the balls.
Mm-hmm.
And use the foreskin to like glide.
Yeah, I guess if they don't
Essentially.
have foreskin, then awkward, but
Yeah. But I guess it's still like the same sensation. But like, this is what I struggle with, is like, doesn't the tip get like quite sensitive as well, like kind of like the clit?
Yeah, but I don't think it's actually as sensitive. Like, I feel like it's way less.
Yeah, it's
but
way,
it is
way,
sensitive
way
for
less.
sure.
Yeah,
it is.
so like, I guess build it up, but I don't know if this is like the problem, is like, do they like consistent pressure the whole way through, or is it like, as our friend was saying, like tighter at the top the whole way through, or is it like, do you get tighter and tighter?
Yeah, true. I guess it like fingering it is different for everyone, but maybe the general idea, I feel like, is don't squeeze too hard. Like, I think, remember that is like your clit and like your vagina, it's gonna hurt if like they press a bit too hard, or like you know, too much pressure is applied. So I feel like just try to keep that in mind and keep like low pressure, but also like you're actually grabbing it.
Yeah,
that I don't know. I mean, I'm speaking as though I'm an expert. I'm really not at this. I'm just giving you like my tips based on like what I've done, and it's given me great results. Okay, guys.
Yeah, and I guess like what are the thoughts on like the lube situation? Like, does it need to be a bit wet? Like, do you lick your hand? Like,
interesting. I mean, I do feel like it is. I'm not sure, but I do feel like it is better when it's like wet. Like, yeah. I don't think it's as necessary as it is for like women.
Like, it doesn't need to be as wet.
Yeah, but I feel like you can't go wrong, you know, you literally just can't go wrong. But I guess if you don't want to like spit in your hand, like if you feel awkward about doing that, maybe just like, I was gonna say start with a blowjob and then like just like just go, but then it's like might as well just keep sucking.
Yeah. I mean, just buy some lube.
Little thing that I've noticed is like when they, you know, pre-cum a little bit, you can like use that. I think what it helps with is like the friction.
Yeah.
I think what you want to avoid is friction, because sometimes like you when you're giving a hand job, you can like feel the friction and like feel how it's so dry and like how you're like doing it very rough.
Yeah.
So I just feel like as long as it's like the whole thing moving together, you know, everything seems to be going like frictionless and fine.
Yeah.
I feel like that's okay. And then also like, you know, if you don't know like exactly like how hard to squeeze or whatever, instead of like squeezing harder at the top to add more pressure, you can like do sort of like a bend kind of motion at the top. Yeah. So that will like applied pressure to like the tip.
Yeah.
More.
Yeah.
I don't know, that ways to change it up, I guess, and then like get the balls involved, you know. Like they honestly do love it. They love the balls being involved. So just like with one hand and the other, you know, you can even get both hands on there. You know, like like when you're sucking dick and you're like giving a hand job at the same time, I feel like just you do that, but like extend it to the whole dick. That's kind of like the idea that I kind of try to follow when I do it.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much hands you're using when you're sucking dick, you know, the average citizen.
We can do a scientific study.
Yeah. But then, and then I feel like hand jobs are necessary for blowjobs. Like I don't I very rarely give a blowjob that I'm just using my hand and my mouth. And if you are, like, I feel like you're making it way harder for yourself than it needs to be, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of guys are like super into deep throating, so they'll be like no hands kind of thing. But I feel like it's good to just like start with hands.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going straight into deep throating, like, I commend you, but honestly, cannot do that. Will not do that.
Yeah.
Anything
Also, like,
else?
the balls kind of make them come a bit quicker if you're, like, not having a good time, you know, just want to get it over and done with. But, I mean, don't do it if you're not enjoying it.
Okay, so what do you think is harder, like, handjob or blowjob, then?
Oh, is this the big reveal?
All in all.
Oh, no, this is handjob or blowjob.
Well, yeah, we're getting to, you know...
We're building up to the big reveal. Okay. So... I think blowjobs are definitely harder because just like the variables, like as you said, it can be like a hand job and a blowjob at the same time, and it's like balancing those two things, and like the fact that there's something in your fucking mouth and like stopping you from breathing is like a big factor. But I think handjobs, a lot of people find handjobs difficult because they're not doing them so much, and because I think a lot of people's mindset is like, oh, you can just do that yourself, you know, like what's the point? Like, we're not here for a hand job, really, realistically. So I think they can be more difficult because it's just like you don't really know what's going on, whereas with a blowjob, like, in a lot of ways it is a bit more intuitive what you're doing. I don't know why.
I feel like because there's less to do, like, once it's in your mouth, it's
yeah, that's true. And you can kind of, like, sense what they like a lot more than with a hand job.
And I feel like, the thing is, I do think blowjobs are harder, like, but I do think it's easier to give a good blowjob than a good hand job.
Yeah, I think so.
Because,
too.
like,
because
once it's in your mouth, like, you're good to go. Like, it's not going to be that bad from that point forward.
Yeah, because they can't give themselves a blowjob, so they're just, like, thankful that you're there.
Exactly. What about in between fingering and head? What do you think is harder?
Like penetrative fingering or clit fingering and head, or both?
Both.
I don't know, because I think head and like clit fingering are kind of on a par, but I think clit fingering is a bit harder than head because of like the fingers aspect, because it's a lot like easier to control with the tongue unless you have like a crazy strong tongue. Like, it's not as much pressure. So yeah, and
it's like already wet.
Yeah, it's already wet. So yeah, I think clit fingering by itself, and then penetrative fingering. It's not that hard in reality, but for some reason it seems like it's really hard from like the level of skill that people approach it with, because I think because they think that like the finger is the dick, so they're just like going in and out, but that's like not really what you want to do. It's more about like the circle, because obviously like guys with dicks are going to think about it from like a very like male centric idea of like the finger is the dick and it's like them being on top and in control of the movements, rather than like the girl or like the person with the vulva being on top and like the movements they might do. Because like if you're on top, you can do like a little circle, like control where the dick is like hitting you inside, and that's more what you want to emulate than like the guy or like the penis being in control. Like, don't think of it in like a penis centric way. Think of it in like a, how is this interacting with the vagina way.
Yeah.
Yeah, what about you? What do you think is harder?
I think, yeah, I would agree. I think probably like clit fingering is the hardest, and then head, and then fingering. I don't know. Sorry, I feel like I have very skewed penetrative fingering opinions because I just don't like. I really don't take that much part.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, but I do agree that it's the least difficult.
Yeah. What about
the big reveal? I feel like we've probably already said.
What about fingering the Hand job.
Fingering's harder.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I would agree.
Like, no hesitation.
And then the big reveal of head v blowjob.
Blowjobs are harder.
Mm.
Like, not in terms of skill, I don't think.
I think blowjobs are harder to do, like, it's just more work.
Yeah.
But I think head is harder to do well.
Yeah.
It's harder to give good head than it is to give a good blowjob, but it's harder to give a blowjob than it is to give head. If you know how to do both.
Yeah. Just from, like, the suffocation point of view. This is kind of the whole, like, main part of the conversation of, like, guys being like, oh, I don't go down there because, like, I can't breathe. And it's like, you're doing it wrong. Like, you are doing it wrong if you can't breathe because it's a flat thing.
What do you mean you can't breathe? I have something down my throat.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean?
Yeah. And, like, also the whole smell thing. I really don't think vaginas smell bad in any way. I think they actually smell quite nice. And guys don't fucking clean their dicks, so just think about that.
Another one that I hear is, like, the jaw thing from guys. It's like, are you joking? Like, I'm sorry,
how is this different to, like harder than this? Like, that makes no sense.
No, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I hear a lot of complaining about how hard head is, and I do think it's hard to give a good head. That I do give credit to that. Like, it's hard to do it well because a lot of people do not do it well.
Yeah. But that's more about the skill than the actual, like, physical toll.
Yeah, exactly. Like, once you get it, and, like, it's actually so easy and, like, really not, like, effortful, low-key.
Yeah. And yeah, I feel like they're opposite, which is why it's so hard for, like, the person with the other genitalia to, like, understand the flip of, like, what the other person is feeling. But yeah, this is why communication is very important. And we're still learning. Everyone's still learning, but, like, we don't have to be embarrassed. If you've got, like, your tongue on someone else's genitalia, then you don't have to be embarrassed of asking them a question.
Yeah. Yeah, just be more confident with it, because I feel like this is the one that, you know, the one piece of advice that I really, like, I preach all the time on this podcast, and I'm really not, like, I really don't follow it. I feel so bad, you know, like, I want them to think that they're doing really well and, like, I'm having a really good time and that, like, they know what they're doing. So I find it very difficult to be, like, to give instruction, even though I know it's not, like, I very, very much know it's not personal. Like, no one's going to take it personally. Like, it's really it's going to make the whole situation just better in every way. But it is hard. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. Like, you want to please the other person, and part of that is making them think they're doing a really good job.
Yeah, but
so I think it's just
guys don't have that.
What?
Like, they don't feel the same of, like, trying to reassure the other person they're doing a good job, or, like,
yeah, I know,
trying to please them as much.
I know.
So I feel like we need to embody that. Well, no. Actually, I feel like that's quite toxic advice. I take it back. Like, we don't need to embody that mentality, but we should be more confident and, like, be less apologetic about it.
Yeah, no, 100%. That, I think, definitely, like, be less apologetic and, like, know that, like, you're both there for the same thing, and it's not really fair that, like, one person just, like, consistently gets what they want, and, like, the other half of the party is just constantly like, oh, that was good, I didn't come, but that was, like, as good as it's gonna get. It's like, but that's not really fair. Like, you know, you can come, like, you can do it.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Like, other people should be able to, like, it's not rocket science. It's just
I
about
feel like
standing up for it and, like, being like, why is this such a big deal?
Yeah. I feel like you should find just one really good person, and then your standards will be raised. Be like, why was I ever settling for less? You know, like, because I thought that I couldn't, like, I thought that someone else couldn't make me come for a while, so I just like kind of gave up. But then like a few people did make me come, and I was like, oh, why is this being such a big deal all along? Like,
Yeah.
it's really not that hard. And like that doesn't mean I don't sleep with people now that I'm like, why can't you make me come? Because like, yeah, it can be difficult, but I do expect that like level of reciprocity, and if it's not given, then I feel a bit like disappointed. I'm disappointed in you. So yeah, that's that.
Oh god.
But yeah, thank you guys for so much for listening. We hope that was helpful in some way. Like, and also if anyone with a penis has any more tips, like, please send them, because a few people have said like, oh, can you get some tips for hand jobs? So yeah, like, always open for suggestions. And girls, if you want to send like specific things that you really enjoy, you think we missed anything out, obviously let us know. I know some people feel a bit awkward about like sending us a direct message with like their name and everything in it about this kind of stuff, but you can send us an anonymous message on our website, which is www.sextruspodcast.com/confessions for the anonymous thing. Like, it is completely anonymous. We literally, all we get is the message that you send. And you can follow us on Instagram at Sextras Podcast, Facebook Sextras Podcast. We're about to like start a Patreon, so you should definitely go check that out if you want to like support us in any other way. Like, give us a little bit of money. It won't be that expensive, we promise, but you'll get like good content. And subscribe, leave us a review, everything, all of the amazing things, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
You've been listening to Sextras, presented by Honey Jane Wyatt and Maria Jose Hayodatiyi. Produced by Mabel Productions.